Did you miss something? Oh yeah, you've missed the first story, but it's okay. I still got another one. So anyways, chat, after I figured out the computer wasn't actually busted, I had to get ready for my wedding. Not my, okay, like my mom's wedding, forget it. Anyways, got out the clothes. I got everything already picked up the day before, shirt, tie, pants, etc. And I started to put everything on. And I'm convinced I'm the only person on the planet that doesn't look good in a suit. It was awful. I felt terrible. Like I literally felt like death. I was like, okay. So I got dressed, almost left, realized I forgot my tie. And I was like, okay. So I come back, grabbed it, go to the truck, start it, and I started heading there. And I actually got there, I think first. I think I was the first one there because my mom originally told me 4, and then she told me 4:30, and then told me 5. And I was like, okay, I'm going to show up at like 4:30. So traffic was pretty bad, but how do I put this? I'm pretty good at reading how traffic flows, especially if you learn an area really well. You know, like what exits typically have a lot of cars come on, a lot of them, like what exits don't have many cars come on, but I'll have a lot get off. So I got around the traffic pretty quickly. And so I ended up getting there at like 4:20-ish. And the only people that were there so far were the photographers and myself. So it was like, I'm not going in yet. So I just sat there in the parking lot, right? And I ended up getting like one of the best spots. And so I just sat there and chilled for like 20 minutes. And then eventually I saw like some people coming, and I don't really know his side of the family that well. Mostly because I just don't go to their family events. Never really have. I've gone to a couple. But every time it's kind of ended in like kind of a disaster. So I've like, not like disaster, but just eh. So I got there and I went up, and it was once I got closer, I could tell it was his son, or one of his sons. And went into the church. You get like this thing you put on. I'll show you. This thing you put on, like, you know. I gotta show you because Stupid's gonna start snacking on it soon if I'm not careful. And so they were like, "Oh, have you seen your mom? Have you seen your mom?" I'm like, "No." Like, is that a bad thing? And they're like, "No, like it's fine. Like, just wondering if you'd seen her." I was like, "Okay." And so my mom's family's not here. She's from Portugal originally, so her only family here is actually just me. So there was like 25 people from his family, and there was me, right? I didn't totally remember everybody, obviously, because I had only seen them a handful of times over the last few years. And so that was a little awkward, to say the least. But I ended up sitting up front because I didn't know what I had to do. Because like at one point I was supposed to like walk her down and almost be like her dad, but then we decided not to, etc. Right? And so eventually we get seated and stuff, and the priest that comes on was not the one that they were supposed to have originally, but because they had got COVID earlier in the week, it was a different one. Now, like, you know, they still knew me was fine, but English was not their first language, and so that becomes an important part in a second. The thing is he likes to talk a lot. And so everybody's seated or whatever, and I didn't figure this out until later, but like they were supposed to start everything like when my mom got there. So like, you know, like the limo pulls up, whatever, right? And my mom apparently was waiting at the door to start for like 10 minutes because this dude was telling a story, and I was like, dude. I'm not gonna lie, like I was sitting there, I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like I had to fight the urge to check my phone because I was like, I don't even know what this dude's talking about at this point. Like it was a little bit hard to understand him, but on top of that too, like I just didn't understand. Like I didn't know what are we talking about? Like it was like he was talking about his donkey's trip. I was like, dude, nobody gives a fuck. Like nobody asked, dude. and so. It's like it's like if I wasn't a streamer, I was like a pastor, dude, you know, and tell people bullshit before we actually do the stuff that matters, you know? So eventually, apparently like somebody signaled him to shut the f up and start. So the doors open at the back, like after the music starts playing. And correct me if I'm wrong, chat. So typically like when the bride walks down the aisle, you know, it's like step, step, stop, step, step, stop, step, step, stop, step, step, stop, like, right? So my mom was like pissed because she'd been out there standing for so long. She fucking strutted like full speed. Like I was like because it's like kind of a big, you know, like I was like kind of squinting at first. I'm like, she's going kind of fast, and then just and I was like, what the f, like I was like, dude, she actually like did a 40-yard dash down the middle of the aisle. I was laughing to myself, and I'm trying not to laugh out loud because I'm the only person from her side of the family, so I'm not trying to be an asshole. So I'm like slow the fuck down. And so, you know, and like my mom looks at me and I'm trying not to laugh, but like you could tell she was just annoyed. So like she's trying not to laugh because I'm trying not to laugh, and it was bad because like I'm like this and I'm sitting next to, oh my god, I don't even know what her title is. It's like, it wasn't his mom, like it's like his mom's sister, you know, it's like his mom's sister, and like she is deeply religious. Like this woman knew every word to every goddamn verse, to every, you know, every chant, every prayer, like by heart, yelling it out loud. So I'm trying not to laugh in front of her, and I was really having a hard time. I was really having a hard time. So the whole thing starts, whatever, right? And I didn't notice this. I didn't notice, but apparently later on, there's like parts where you're supposed to stand, sit, or like you're supposed to kneel for certain parts as well. But because the first row doesn't have anywhere to kneel, like the first row typically doesn't kneel, apparently all the other people in the room were looking at her because like she's like known as like the super religious one, to figure out if they're supposed to stand, kneel, or whatever. But because she didn't have a place to kneel, there were parts where like, you know, like the people who like run the church thing, who like tell people to like sit or stand on the sides or whatever, those people were on the sides being like birds, just trying to tell people to get down, and nobody was moving. And I didn't even see it because I was like in the middle in the front, like and like they were all looking at her to see what they're supposed to do. So I guess at some point, like one of the ladies on the side was like an important part where you're supposed to kneel, she's like going like this to people, like trying to get them to go down, but the lady on my left isn't going down because there's no place for her to go. So all the other people are all staring at her, like all the other parts of his family are staring at her to see what they're supposed to do, and because she didn't do anything, they're like, fuck it, dude. So like they were just blatantly ignoring like what you're supposed to do. I didn't even notice, dude. I was having my own laugh, and I'm laughing to myself because my mother's name is Natalia. So, you know, it comes on and he's like, oh, we want to join this marriage between Natalia and Vinny. And then it just fucking fell apart. I don't know if he lost his confidence or what, but he started calling her Natalie. That was one of the good ones. I don't know if that, I think when he said, when do you Natalie take Vinny to be your lawfully wedded husband, I fucking lost it. I was like, and like I was trying not to laugh. It was like Natalie, not Lotly, not Tlotly, not Tutla. Like, dude, it was every time it was different, and I was trying not to die. You know, it wasn't like he wasn't like the original, you know, one, but like my mom called it. She was like, I think he's gonna say my name wrong. Like the day before, she told me. I was like, nah, it'll be fine. Every time he said it wrong. He said it right once right at the beginning, once in the middle somewhere correct, and then after that, every other time was wrong. And it was just constantly changing, and I was just watching her get madder and madder and madder. So much so, and I knew it all broke at a certain point, because, you know, like the husband puts the ring on her, and then she puts the ring on him. but apparently the ring that he had gotten, he got a few, like a couple months before, it didn't fit anymore. Like either his finger had swollen or like, you know, whatever. So my mom took the ring and went boom and fucking jammed it. And you physically saw them shake because of how hard she went boom and shoved it on there. And I was wondering why he went, like they were saying like this, he went like this really quick. And I was like, did she just push him? Like, I was like, man, dude, I'm trying to peek, but not peek too far. And the priest like laughs, and then he laughs really quick, and then she does a little one, and like nobody saw what happened except like I saw the movement. I'm like, did she push him? But like she was already so pissed because like the entire time she's getting called the wrong name. And on top of that, the church is about 1 billion degrees. Dude, there was no air conditioner in the entire place. There was a portable air conditioner, one they brought in for the wedding. It was in the fucking back. They brought in a single portable air conditioner for the wedding and they put it in the fucking back. I didn't even know it was like, I found out later, like, oh yeah, they brought an air conditioner. It was in the back. I was like, great. Meanwhile, I'm dying, dude. I'm like, every time like I stand up and sit down, I'm like, oh my God, I'm dying. I'm dying. This church chair is nothing like my Herman Miller. Am I right? And so, you know, eventually like everything kind of like comes down, like, you know, lawfully wedded, blah, 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 it's over. So they walk out first, everybody walks out, and like you take pictures out front, etc. It was like a bit of a shit show because like it was just so hot, everybody was dying, and they had a thing after at his place. So he has like a venue that he runs, like it's like a very well-known place, so we were gonna go back there to have dinner, photos, basically the after ceremony reception, right? I hopped in my truck, so most people are still standing at the front. Like some people start walking to their cars, but it's like then now they get to get the photo with just the groom and the bride, you know what I mean, like stuff like that. Like so they have to hang back because they're gonna take the limo, stuff like that. I hopped in and my phone automatically connects to my truck, and it connected to wine, beer, and whiskey on full blast about 45 seconds into the song. And so my truck starts, the windows come down, and then you just hear the boom, and I was like, fuck, dude, like there's like 25 people that are sitting there, like standing there, like it's all the older people, like his kids are the youngest, are like 35, and then it's all these older people. And I was like, ah, shit. So it's too late. I'm committed now. I'm committed. So I put in reverse really quick, back out really fast, and just gone, dude. I was in and out of that parking lot in 10 seconds. Immediately, I was like, I'm gone. See you later. And so I got there. I was like the first person there, but I was parked on the wrong side because like at one side there's like one part of the venue and the other side has another part. I didn't know what part it was on. So I'm sitting on the other side for like 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, nobody's here. So I drove over the other side and I see people. I'm like, okay, so this is where I'm supposed to be. And so one of his sons like makes a little comment. He's like, a truck of yours kind of quick, isn't it? And I was like, God damn it, dude. And I was like, whatever. So we go inside. I said congrats to my mom and stuff, and I pulled her in really close, and I was like, congrats, Natalie. And she was like, yeah, thanks. And she was in a good mood about it, but like she knew she was gonna get called it, and I just said, F it, dude, I'm just gonna lean into it. And I was like, which one was your favorite? And she was like, what do you mean? I go, what name you got called? Which one was your favorite? She was like, I would have liked to have been called my actual name. And I was like, that's probably a good answer. And so we're inside, and it's hot as balls inside because apparently the AC wasn't on full blast yet because like they didn't expect us to come for another half hour. So it was like open bar and stuff like that, and all of his family are like ordering margaritas and cocktails and shit, and I was like, I'll just take a Coke. And they're like, you don't drink? And I'm like, I do, but it's 90 degrees, I'm in a full monkey suit, and I am dying. Like, I'm literally dying. Like, the worst thing I could do right now is decide to drink alcohol, because then we just throw everything else out the window at this point. But then we had to go take photos again, and that was, dude, the amount of photos, I was like, I haven't taken that many photos in at least 3 years, maybe more, maybe 10. Mostly after that, I was just kind of like chilling, waiting. I got lied to. I was told something was a mac and cheese bite. It was scallop and some other shit. And I fucking yoinked that thing into my mouth and just immediate regret. I went from, this is gonna be good. Because there's no trash barrels, you know, like they take the trash for you, but I wasn't gonna spit this thing into a fucking napkin and hand it to a person. Like I have more self-respect than that. So I just was like, and I basically swallowed the thing whole. I was like, and that was it. And I was like, I'm not taking a single thing off any of these other plates again. Like when they bring around like, oh, do you want this? Do you want that? Nope, absolutely not. Photo stuff are done. I took my jacket off. Everyone's still in their jacket and shit. And I go, Ma, are we doing photos? And she's like, yeah. I go, good. And I just took my jacket off, rolled up my sleeves. I'm like, I'm done with this. Like it's literally 95 degrees in here. It was just starting to cool down. I'm like, I'm dying. I'm done. Like that's it. And so everyone and their mothers that kept talking to me is like, oh, what do you do again? Like, I know you do like some like online stuff, but I don't get it. And dude, trying to explain to old people what the streaming is the worst nightmare on the planet. Like, I'll tell you right now, like I tried really hard. Like there was a couple that kind of understood, but like there were some that would just stare at me like, can you say that again? So yeah, anyways, we sit down for food and stuff, and the first course comes, and I did not like anything on the first course, but there was this pot. It was like this big, and it was full of lobster, apparently. It was like some kind of breading and lobster, and I was like, I'm not big on lobster, but to be honest with you, I don't want to be the only one who like doesn't touch their plate, and that sounds like the best thing that's on this. So I'm gonna try it. So I take my fork, I dig it in, and I take out the biggest piece of lobster, and I'm like, it's actually pretty good. And I put it in my mouth, and that motherfucker was about a 340 degrees. My whole mouth lit up like a Christmas tree. And okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I was a little annoyed where they placed me. I could put it at the end of the table, and my mom's in the middle, and my mom's the only person there that I really know. So I was like, okay, that's a little weird. So I felt a little bit awkward about that. I was kind of a little annoyed, but whatever. And so one of his sons is sitting next to me, and then across is like other son or nephew, and I am like, and so the son is like a part owner of the business. He's like, yeah, I should have warned you, these are those are real hot. And I'm like trying to blow every absolute ounce of heat I have out of my mouth, because my whole mouth is on fire. I finally get this thing down. I finally get it down. And so I go, wait, this is a perfect opportunity though. I was like, dude, that just burned the f out of my mouth. And so they start laughing. And he's like, yeah, I should have warned you, my bad. And so I was like, great. If anyone asked me why I didn't touch my food, I burned my mouth. Let's go. So they come out, and they come around with rolls. And they literally like hand give you rolls, like what you want. I was like, oh, that looks pretty good right about there. Looks like that one. So I got a roll, and I like put a little butter on it and just ate that. I was like, cool, whatever. Get the plate taken away, and the second plate comes out, and I don't know what kind of steak this was, but it was a whole ass cow. Like the steak was this long. It was like a little bit, almost like a little bit curved, and about that thick. And I was like, oh my God. And so I had a little bit of potatoes and stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna kill this thing. And so I start cutting it, and his like son goes like, oh, what type of steak do you have? I'm like, oh, medium rare. He goes, oh, you'll probably like this then. And so I finish cutting it, and I open up, and the thing goes, I mean, I was like, oh shit. Like yeah, this thing was the rawest steak I have ever seen, but it looked delicious. So I started working my way through this, and I'm cut, munch, 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 cut, munch, 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 cut, munch, 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 you know? And so I got about halfway through it,
And the roll lady comes back and she's like, I got more. And I was like, oh shit, what do you got? She had like corn rolls, wheat rolls, white rolls, Hawaiian like style rolls, like not like grocery store, like homemade. I was like, oh my God, those look fantastic. So I got 2 more rolls. And so I had a little bit more of the steak, and then I realized I was the last person still eating, because I eat very slow. Always just have. And so, plus everybody's making me talk the entire time. People ask me 10 bajillion questions. I kind of felt weird being the only person still eating at that point, because they were doing like, everyone was talking and stuff like that. And I was gonna talk, but my mom begged me to absolute kingdom come to not. Just what she said was she wanted to keep it a happy day. And I was like, Ma, what does that mean? And I figured out what she meant. Is like, you know, my mom was a single mom. It was always just me and her. So like, for me to talk about a lot of that stuff, I'd have to bring up, you know, how she was like my mom and my dad. And she didn't want to talk about that shit. So I ended up telling him on the side, like her new husband and stuff like that, like the stuff I was going to tell him anyways. So like, we skipped that part. And then cake comes out, and they like had individual ones for everybody on top of it. And they were actually like kind of, I think I got 1 photo of it. I think that's the 1 photo I took the whole night. I think I took 1 photo. No, I took 2. Okay, hold on. I'll show you the 2 photos I took. Okay, so basically these were the 2 things. So this was the steak after I'd gotten a little bit through it. The steak mooing at me. But it was pretty good. It was actually pretty good. And then this was the cake. Everybody got one of these, which were like, they were all right. I mean, but it was fondue on the outside, so like it kind of fell apart weird. I ended up having like half of it. But it was cool though. It was cool. Not fondue. No, it was definitely fondue. It fell apart like instantly. Oh, fondant. Okay, whatever. Fuck it, dude. I'm not having this argument. Okay. So after everything was over, I went home and stuff like that after saying bye to people. Got home, set up the rest of my stuff for like my microphone and stuff for today. But it wasn't over yet. I went to sleep, and then I woke up this morning at about 8 a.m. And when I woke up at 8 a.m., I was trying to go back to sleep, and I couldn't go back to sleep. And I felt why. My butthole was going, help. And I'm like, what the f? I was like, wait, do I have to? I went in the bathroom, and it just explosion, dude. It was awful. That steak was definitely a little rare, because my butthole, it just goddamn exploded, dude. I was still like asleep. I'm literally sitting there with my eyes shut, and I was like, fuck it, dude, I'm gonna go back to sleep. So like, I finished up, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a shower before I go back to sleep. So I hopped in the shower really quick, just because I wanted to like relax again and like feel good. And I literally got out of the shower, and I walked back in my room, and my butthole went, I'm not done. I was like, no way. So I like tried to ignore it for like 2 minutes, and I was like, dude, here we go again. And so I had to go back in for round 2, and I was like, okay, this is the worst, dude. This is the worst, dude. So then I said, I'm not ruining this. So I got back in the shower again. And then I got back in the shower again. I said, f it, dude, I'm done. And I got back out, and I felt the rumble, and I go, don't you fucking dare. And it went away, but I couldn't go back to sleep though. I had to stay awake. I had to stay awake, because otherwise, just, you know, if I let go too much, I felt like I was just gonna, you know. So here we are. How was the wedding though? I mean, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I'm so tired though.